Hear that? Nothing? Me neither. But that's the perfect spot for your company's name to step into the spotlight. Become an underwriter for As You Mic It and let every episode be your curtain call. Slip a note to podcast@pashakespeare.org for more information.
I'm just going to get more comfortable now that I've marked this area. So what was your very serious question?
My very serious question about the aliens. Hello and welcome to As You Mic It, in the Spotlight, where we shine a light on the creative minds shaping our summer theater season. I'm Jason King-Jones, Artistic Director here at Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival. Our 2025 Summer Theater Series is at the halfway point, and Labuda is alive and bold with beautiful stories and powerful performances. Today we turn our attention to a landmark of American theater, Lorraine Hansberry's A Raisin in the Sun. Speaking with us today are Brandon Burton and Noelle Dianne Johnson, who bring Walter Lee and Ruth Younger to vivid life on our stage. Welcome, Brandon and Noelle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm really excited that you're here. We're recording this on the day of our invited dress rehearsal, so we haven't yet even put this in front of an audience. We've had, about 18 days of rehearsal, something like that, if we're really counting. Mm-hmm. And we've been on the stage now. You've been working with the lights and the sound and the props, and tonight we kind of do it live for an invited audience, so we can start to kind of getting the audience connected with it as well. Yeah. So that's kind of where we are in the journey right now. Mm-hmm. I'm sure if we recorded a conversation at the end of week 3, we would have a much deeper and different conversation.
100%.
So we're still in the exploration phase. Yeah. But since we're in the exploration phase, some of the questions are going to be a little bit on the front end of the process. So let's talk a little bit about how each of you kind of began your journey into this play. What's your history with A Raisin in the Sun, and why did you say yes to this particular production?
I think that my experience came as it did with many people in this country, with reading it in middle and high school. Yeah. Before I even considered acting as a viable career path, it was just you read it during Black History Month and you talk about it for a day and then forget about it. Read it again in college, and then really read it only a couple of years ago, only in 2020, because I was in a production at Yale Repertory Theater, and I was playing Bobo. Mm-hmm. So that production never happened because COVID. Yeah, it's one of the victims of the great wave of COVID. But I learned so much about what a perfect play it is. Yeah. like the writing and the way that Lorraine crafts text is so intricate and layered that when Akeem reached out for this production, it was a fairly easy yes. Yeah. It was a matter of convincing my reps to hurry up and send me the papers so that I could actually sign them. But I was really ready to jump back into this world from a different perspective. Yeah. Seeing the play from Bobo's eyes and seeing it from Walter's eyes, the play becomes it's a very different beast.
Oh, absolutely.
From those characters' perspectives.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I think I read it in middle and high school as well. I don't really remember the jump off point from where I read it, but I remember because I've had it for a long time. I've had a copy of A Raisin in the Sun for a really long time, but I think when I really dove into it, it's interesting. In undergrad, I was also a gender, sexuality, and women's studies minor. Mm-hmm. That was kind of my other thing, and I remember diving into the play from that perspective, from a women's studies perspective, Black studies and women's studies perspective, and then in grad school, studying it again from more of a script analysis standpoint and Black woman embodiment standpoint. So it's interesting. I've known Akeem for over a decade. Yeah. So when I saw he was directing, I was like, oh, wow. And I remember coming in and auditioning for this at the Walnut. And the audition sheet says, who do you want to audition for? And I was like, this is a this is a good moment in my life to potentially play a character like this.
Yeah.
Honestly, this whole experience has just been, I've been kind of like flowing with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I love this play. And I've studied it deeply from, like I said, a script analysis standpoint. And just like my studies, Black women embodiment, Black women on stage,
Right.
Black women's hair. I shared with our phenomenal actor who's playing Beneatha, Billy Wyatt. Beneatha is actually one of my favorite characters in the entire canon. I think that her trajectory and her arc is one of the most well-written insights into Black womanhood. And so I've loved the play for a really long time.
I'm wondering if I can dig deeper, and please obviously feel free to only share what you're comfortable sharing, but you said that you felt like this might be a good time in your life to dive into a character like Ruth. What particularly is it that you're connecting with your life and with the character?
Yeah, it's interesting. When we started the rehearsal process, me and Ruth were very similar and we're very different. I think that in the beginning, there were some things that Ruth was in the relationship with Walter that Noelle, I'm kind of like, girl, what are you doing? What's going on? Like, run, get out,
The call's coming from inside the house.
Yeah,
for sure,
the
on
call's
this
coming
one.
from inside the house.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that Akeem said to us in the beginning that's really stuck with me is when we were first starting rehearsals, to remember that these characters really love one another.
Yeah.
And I think I'm in a place in my life where I'm looking at the women in my life. I'm looking at the Black women in my life, my grandmothers, my mother, my aunties, the people that have really cultivated who I am, and having a new respect for the choices and the decisions that they made that allow me to be who I am, that allow me to be the person that says, no, I won't accept that, or no, I'm not going to do that. And really honoring them and honoring how courageous and brave it is to stay in a situation like the one that Ruth's in, to love her Black husband and her Black son in this country, and dealing with the things that they're dealing with, and having just a new perspective of that there's something really admirable about what she does, as opposed to me, Noelle, and my, maturation and individuation kind of being like, why would you stay, or why would you embrace this situation? Just having a different perspective on it.
It's interesting.
In my life.
Yeah, I hear that. I promise, Brandon, I'm going to ask you some questions, but I want to keep going.
Believe me, I am hearing it, and I'm right there with you.
Well, so digging a little bit more into Ruth as a character, she's married into this family, and so this is three generations living in a 2-bedroom apartment in the South Side of Chicago in 1957, 58, and recently, there was Big Walter and Mama living in the house, and Beneatha, and you and your husband, and your son Travis. How Ruth navigates living in this household, being a part of this family, and always being the married individual as a part of it. Can you talk a little bit about that psychology and that relationship in this particular context, and how it also relates to your own life?
Yeah. That's a great question. And it's something that I think in rehearsals I've really had to navigate, of like, she's been with the family for over a decade.
Yeah.
They've been married for 11 years. That's been really interesting in Ruth and Beneatha's dynamic as well, because she's known Beneatha since she was 10.
Yeah.
She's like, so some of those scenes where she's kind of like talking to her and picking on her and kind of like, little sis, like, it's like, she would have known her in those times. But I think that where I am with it now is this idea of the liberatory and radical ways that Black folks create family dynamics for themselves. And again, even within the constraints of, the systemic things that Black folks are going through, especially Black women what Black women go through, the choices and decisions that we still make. So this idea of I've really tried to come at Ruth from a perspective of like, this was her choice. This was her choice. This was her decision to join this family and be a part of this family. And it's not, in some ways, she's just kind of happy to be there. But in other ways, she makes the decision. She's very aware and cognizant of the decision that she has made to stand in the gap for this family that by blood is not necessarily hers.
It's the family that she's created.
The family that she's created with Walter, and
Absolutely.
they have a child together and have another one.
We have another one coming. Yeah.
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 I don't know why I just immediately got stressed out thinking about.
Right. Oh, right. There's a baby.
Yeah, there's another.
We were talking about that the other day too.
Yeah.
I was like, Brandon, I'm pregnant this
The
whole
entire show.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's just the other stuff that you have to think about. And I was like, oh yeah, like there's this looming next generation. And Mama says, I sure hope it's a little girl.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about that too. I'm like, ugh, a little girl, to bring another young little black girl into this is, the dynamics are just interesting to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. And legacy is so much a part of the family, their knowledge of their generations.
Yeah.
What Travis is the sixth generation
Yeah.
of the youngers in this country.
Yeah.
And how that is phrased is also so. Of course, that you're saying that to the white man that happens to be in the room at the time.
Right.
But that the carrying of the legacy and the ancestors being there and Big Walter being in a photo.
Yeah.
And still living in the house, right?
100%.
Brandon, can you talk a little bit about the pressure that he's feeling, the dream that he has?
Yeah.
When Akeem and I talked, he was noticing the parallels between Hamlet and Walter Lee.
100%.
So I wonder if you can kind of take all that context and talk a little bit about where Walter is in this play and what are the things that some of the pressures that he's feeling that maybe he can't necessarily articulate, or he's trying, but no one feels like they're really listening.
Yeah, I think that the connection between Hamlet and Walter Lee it's a really astute observation. I think the only difference is that Hamlet makes a conscious decision to sort of put on the suit of crazy.
The antic disposition.
Right. The antic disposition is sort of it's a choice that he makes in order to suss out the something rotten. I don't think that Walter gets that choice. The weird thing about having a dream in America, it's sort of like the American dream is the bedrock of the American mythos.
Yeah.
And I think that every person that comes to this country wants to tap into that bedrock and wants to really, get in there and drill and you hope that they hit oil.
Yeah.
What this play really makes clear to me is that the American dream isn't always a dream. Oftentimes it's quite the opposite. It's a nightmare. Sometimes the pursuit of legacy or the pursuit of what you feel is best for the people around you or leaving your stamp on the world, when you're unsuccessful in that, it can drive one nuts and batty.
Yeah.
There are moments in this play where I think that as Walter, I'm like, I wish I could talk to my dad. Like me, Brandon, I have the benefit of, there are many moments during the rehearsal process where I would call my dad, be like, I'm just trying to understand like this thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a kid. My dad has two. And he is married. And so it's like there are these things that my dad can provide this really beautiful perspective on that I wouldn't be able to glean from my own life experience. But Walter doesn't have that.
Right.
He doesn't have a father to lean on. And so he leans on his friends or people that he believes to be his friends.
Yeah.
And also sometimes you can have a dream that's so gargantuan that you talk about it all the time. But because people are either not dismissive, but people are hearing you, but you just talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Eventually people will not stop listening, but they sort of allow it to go in one ear and out the other.
Sure.
I mean, I remember wanting to be an actor, a young actor, and wanting to be like, I can make this a career, and people being like, well, it's really hard. There's like a lot of really hards in the world. It's like, it's really hard. And like, not everybody makes it. And it's like, I have the benefit of living and being like, well, success is what I choose it to be. But I don't know that Walter has that elevated point of view. And I can't blame him for that. There's only one way to be a success. in his experience.
What is that?
So Walter is a chauffeur. He has been a chauffeur. Success looks like the people that he drives around.
Mm-hmm.
That's what success is. It's having a bunch of offices. It's being an executive. It's driving the Chrysler. It's having a gardener.
Right.
It's having an upstairs. Because like you mentioned, they live in this 2-bedroom. It's having an upstairs.
Yeah.
It's walking upstairs to even enter the house. Like that's what, it's the white picket fence. Like that's what success is. But I think that while valid, that tears away at someone's soul after a while. You stop looking at the people around you. You start looking at the things around you.
Yes.
I think that one can begin to live life from a place of scarcity.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough to go around. Mm-hmm. I must acquire as much as possible. I must take, as it were.
Yeah.
And you stop seeing the bounty of your family, of the ambitions of your siblings, of the ambitions of the people around you. I mean, like, there's a lot with Walter that was scary because I was like, man, I totally get it. You know?
Yeah.
My sister works for Google and lives in Sydney, Australia. She's extremely successful. I was so hot. For a minute, I was so hot because I was just like, man, she's really just one-upped me at every... She was she's the youngest. She's prettier than I am. She's smarter. Like she's just one-upped me at every single... So it's like that sibling sort of jealousy I really understand. But then I also understand that pride and support that comes on the other side of that. Of, I love you so much that your success is my success. And living from that place of abundance. Man, we've gotten far away from your question that you asked, but
No, that's okay. That's why we're here.
But I think
This,
that's
no, this play evokes that kind of
Yeah, it does.
those kinds of conversations.
Yeah.
And it elicits that kind of deep thinking about what that American experience is for Black Americans. You know, as a white dude from the Ozarks, you know, when I read this play, I relate to it at a certain level, and then there's a level that I can't fully comprehend. I can't fully understand because I have not lived those experiences.
Sure.
So I would love just to hear a little bit more about the unique pressure for Walter Lee finding himself becoming the patriarch
Yeah.
in the family while mom is living in the house, the responsibility and pressure of putting your next family, your generation forward, moving that sense that even if the dreams get deferred, that there's a sense that what we are struggling with this generation is a step forward from what our ancestors, what our great grandparents struggled with before. And so a little bit about like just the forward momentum.
I mean, I think that there is a scene in the play that Walter's trying to explain what the future could look like. And Mama's like, you and Benita are so different from us.
Yeah.
Because we worried about, you know, not getting lynched and coming in through the back door and like having to, you know what I mean? Like from my perspective, what Walter is saying is like, yeah, but Mom, you set me up to be able to dream.
Yeah.
You and the people of your generation fought and unfortunately suffered and waged war, essentially, in order to have the victory of children who are able to dream.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Walter sees that and has that same passion and wants to pay that forward. But it's like the search for the tools to do that. How do I set up my son for success for his future?
Right.
How do I create something that's big enough, sustainable enough, with the tools that I have around me so that my kids don't have to worry about the things that I'm worried about? And I think that's a lot of every parent's dream ultimately, but that is tough to execute.
Mm-hmm.
It is really tough to execute. And it's even tougher when I think that if you don't have a father to lean on in this case, I think that from his perspective, because also I think that, you know, Walter wants to be the man of the house.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah.
That's like, I mean, Mama runs this house. in a way that Walter, I think there are a lot of things that Mama does that Walter is deeply unaware of, right?
Sure.
And that Ruth does that Walter is just unaware of. But that's the advantage of the way that the patriarchy was set up at the time. If you were a man, then you have a lot of advantages in that way.
But then you've also got Beneatha in this house, who, like, she is right. Like she refuses to let anybody run anything with her. She is her own, and I'd like to shift over a little bit about, like, Billy Wyatt is playing Beneatha, and she is not here, but that character's presence is so strongly felt because she seems to be a unique individual in this household and somebody that we can't necessarily pin down because she's going to college, she wants to be a doctor, she's taking guitar lessons, she took horseback lessons. Nobody tells this woman no. And what's it like to have that kind of a powerful spirit in the house while you, Ruth, are a domestic, cleaning other people's houses, wearing the same uniform that your mother-in-law also wears, still cleaning people's houses, well past retirement age, and you're a chauffeur, and then here's Beneatha, who is defying all of this.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's Lorraine. It's Lorraine in the room. It's Lorraine in the story. It's to the point of the dreams deferred conversation too. Like, I imagine that's I don't have children either. Like, I imagine that's every parent's dream. But my mom says things like that to me all the time. She's like, well, Noelle, I want you to do better than me. She's very satisfied. You know what I mean? She's very like, yeah, this is what we did. And now you go and you do these things. And I think Beneatha is the pinnacle, the example. We talked about this too. If we're in 1958, we are right before the civil rights movement, right before when, Black women cutting their hair off and wearing it natural was very normal, right before when a lot of the ideas that Beneatha is talking about had this, like, takeoff into popular culture. And she was just right before all of that happens. So having her there and having her be kind of at the, like, she's at the front lines. She's a pioneer in these ways. And we haven't really been playing a lot of it, but it's in the stage directions, which I've been paying a lot of attention to because, again, Lorraine, just keeping her close has been important to me. There are moments where Beneatha does things and Lorraine indicates, and Ruth does this, or it triggers Ruth to think about this, or when Beneatha cuts her hair, Ruth clutches at her own hair. Like, just the idea of the thought of, I can't even imagine what that would be. You know what I mean? This idea of I can't even imagine what that would be. I can also relate to the conversation about being an actor. But I'm very clear, especially in this process, and have really dedicated a lot of my work just intentionally to my mother and my grandmothers and my aunties and the Black women that have come before me. There's no way I could even have the luxury of thinking about being an actor. Without the legacy of what the women in my life have done before me. It is a luxury to get to come to the beautiful campus of DeSales and spend a summer acting. What? Like, my mothers and grandmothers were trying to survive. And I think about my one grandmother in particular, how proud she would be and how much she would love that I'm doing this. But that was not her experience. She was, she couldn't go into the white morgue. She had to wait with the, you know what I mean? She had to go through the back doors. And my grandparents would tell stories about, when Martin Luther King was assassinated. Like, and it's like, and I get to be an actor? And that's what Mama is saying. She's like, we're not thinking about that. I love the line that you have too, Brandon. You say, Mama, you don't know what this money means to me. And Mama interprets it as money. But he's not.
That's not the goal.
He's talking about the money, but he's like, the money allows me to do this, and this, but that they don't have that shared language because of the divide. That is one of the things that I always like to remind people is by design.
Yeah.
The systems and structures of white supremacy that put this family in this situation, the dynamics and the things that Black folks deal with, Black families deal with, it's a system, and it's by design. It's not an accident that these families are navigating these things in that way, and that there is a divide in the language or how we communicate with one another in those ways, and how we share, colonization, right? Colonization is place-based. It's not just this ethereal thing, but even the colonization of language and how we're able to communicate with each other, very much by design to keep us separated and to be able to keep that kind of thing of like, oh, I can't really express to you what it is that I'm really trying to say, which happens in with all the family members. Yeah. Benitha and Ruth, Mama and Ruth to Benitha, Ruth and Walter to Mama. Yeah. Like, all of us are like,
trying to find the language
to find the language to reach each other and really share how much we love each other and kind of, no, I do believe in your dream, or this is important to me, but the system and the dynamics that we're put under. And it's so interesting how when the white man comes into our house, those are the moments where we're like, we connect.
100%.
When something from the outside comes, it's like, oh, now we get each other. Yeah. Now we understand. But when it's us in that space, there's this difficulty in being able to express.
It's interesting that Lorraine, in the stage directions and stage notes, every character, there's a focus on how they speak. Yeah. There's a focus on, like, Benitha has decidedly does not speak with the same sort of like Southern influence that Walter and Mama do. Mama speaks in a very, like, there's something about the cadence of communication and the musicality of it. It's like we're all speaking the same language of music, but we're all speaking in different styles. Yeah. And if I'm speaking blues and Mama's speaking gospel, it's very different. It's like there's some overlap, but like, we ain't gonna always understand each other.
Great. Yeah, that's a great.
And then here comes Benitha, and she's, Charlie Parker doing this free jazz sax solo, and it's like everyone in the house is like, "What's going on?
You're odd, honey. I knew you was odd. Like, what is this?
Right? It's like this completely alien thing. And then here's Travis, and he's talking the language of Chuck Berry and rock and roll, right? So I think that there's also, it's every character in this play is so ahead of the times. I'm doing air quotes. I know it's a podcast, but
it's not the first air quotes we've seen.
But every character is so ahead of the times to speak on, where the play goes up on Broadway in 57,
I think it's 57.
57, 58.
Yeah. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, right. Here, I'm just going to say 57, 58, 59, 60. And then we can just edit it in. Or just leave that whole bit in, and we can all have a laugh about it later. But the play, it goes up 7 years before the Civil Rights Act is made law. Yeah. But to Noelle's point, it's years before the zeitgeist has taken hold of it. But literally you have one Walter who wants to be a Black business owner, which isn't necessarily ahead of its time, but he also, it's like he's dreaming about, selling liquor to these cool, quiet restaurants as well. Yeah. That are potentially white owned. So like that's very forward thinking for the late 1950s. You got Benitha, who we've spoken about, who is going to college and is this intellectual free spirit. Ruth is there's open conversations in this household about a woman's bodily autonomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, Mama is a woman who is in charge of the household. which while not revolutionary for a lot of us, is still like such an important part of Black culture. Like we all have like the women are the keepers of history and knowledge, and don't do that, and make sure you tuck in your shirt and look presentable. But like every character is represents this archetype that doesn't come to fruition in the zeitgeist for another decade.
Yeah.
So I think it's just really remarkable how, if you really look at the text, Lorraine is so ahead of her time. It's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, and she was 29 years old when this play was produced on Broadway.
Years old.
Yeah, she was 29 when this play was presented on Broadway. You know, it's just she is so ahead of her time, and you know, again from my vantage point, from my perspective, I find the characters so incredibly relatable when I think about my own family. You know, I grew up in the Ozarks. My grandparents were farmers, and then the next generation became civil service workers. They worked like the post office or city utilities. You know, and my aunt, you know, she married a guy who, you know, then they all had military service as well, because that was also a part of it. Like that was a requirement. My grandfather didn't serve in World War II because he was the only child. And so he wasn't able to. Of course, he finished school at 6th grade because his dad was just like, I need you on the farm.
Yeah.
What are you doing in school? So that sense that like, and then here I am, you know, going off and, you know, having a career in the theater, right?
Doing a podcast.
Right, we're doing a podcast right now, right? Like, so I can also relate to the kind of like generational change, and I can relate to a very strong matriarch, and I can relate to this, like, what world are you talking about? And different generations having different language. These things are also from not living in the Black experience, something that I find incredibly relatable. Yeah. I wanted just to shift. This conversation is fantastic, and it could go much longer than it's going to, but I do want to shift back to this idea of these systems and structures that are in place, because I want to talk about Clybourne Park, because this is such an incredibly important thing, right? When we talk about dreams deferred, the one person who actually did something with the money before the money was the plot to take care of.
Okay, let's all relax. All right? Listen, I was doing what I thought was best for the family. Okay.
Right. But what Mama did is she took some of that money without talking to anybody.
Yes.
Speaking of the person who's actually in charge. And went and put a down payment on a house.
Yeah.
And she put a down payment on a house that she could afford.
Yep.
And because it needed to be affordable, it wound up being in a white neighborhood of Clybourne Park, not in the neighborhoods that are farther away, harder to get to, and more expensive systems and structures. But here we are, and so now we got a down payment on a house in Clybourne Park.
Yeah.
What's going on when you learn this news? These characters, individuals, what's going through your mind?
Oh, it's a death sentence.
Really?
Yeah. Clybourne Park is, much like many neighborhoods in that era of the United States, is a gated community that was that actively redlined, which is the process of discriminating. It was housing discrimination. It was preventing Black and brown families from moving into predominantly white neighborhoods. So if a black family did move into these predominantly white neighborhoods, they would be the victims of organized systemic terror. You know, their houses would be burned down, rocks would be thrown in, or potentially bombed. People dragged out in the middle of the night. I mean, it's, you know, the sun goes down and it's sort of open season on a Black household. So it is what she's proposing for this family, what she's proposing to us, what she's coming in here all happy and jolly about, is a life of being terrorized by our neighbors. That's what makes it even more damning. That's
so interesting. I think Ruth knows that. She knows, but this is it. This is the dream. This is what we've been talking about. Listen.
Does this
What
play end
actually
hopefully, or does this play end deadly?
It's like, okay.
But it's
But I
so
think that's
funny
that-
what's
yeah.
happening between
Yeah.
Noelle and Brandon right now is also what happens between Ruth and Walter
Yeah.
in the play.
100%.
And it is one of those things. It's like to get everything you want, right?
Yeah.
Like you get the perfect job. Oh, I got this perfect job. I got this offer. This is my dream job. But it's in Antarctica.
Right.
Like, you know, am I going to leave my family?
Yeah.
All of the things that come with that, but it's still my dream job. It's
Yeah.
still the dream salary, the dream, you know, and I think Ruth has the pause. She's like, "What?" Like we couldn't figure out anything else. One of the things that I had to connect to early on to really be able to really lock into Ruth and lock into the marriage that she has with Walter is that Walter has all these dreams, but she has bought into the dreams as well.
Yeah.
She's frustrated with Walter. They have their issues, but this is everything they've talked about. It's everything they've been talking about. They talked about this when Travis was born. They talked about the house that they were going to live in, the way that we were going to live. And literally she says that, and then Mama comes in the house and says, I bought the house we've been talking about. Literally the house that me and Walter have been talking about for a decade. She bought it. She bought it.
You didn't choose the one in Clybourne Park.
Right. We didn't choose it in Clybourne Park, but this is it.
I mean, I think that
We did it.
This is sort of like, this is also, I mean, I think that this speaks to like the I love JKJ that you shared your own family history, because that's such, what you've described sounds like my family as well. You know, like there's something quintessentially American about either a family that at one point had people who were working in industry or farms, because that's what this country was. And
that's
farms either by force or by choice, but
Yeah.
right.
And that's exciting too. We were having a conversation with Kimberly S. Fairbanks, who plays Mama, and you mentioned you relate to it, but to a certain point, right? Not being a Black American. And one of the conversations that we've been having is we really hope it's a family story.
100%.
It's yes, there are nuances, and that is on purpose. But yeah, that this is something that audiences will be able to relate to, that it supersedes these kind of racial dynamics.
And it's quintessentially American.
Right. It's an
Absolutely.
American play. It's an American
Story
story.
like this could not happen anywhere else except for this country.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it both tragic and beautiful and intensely relatable, no matter what cultural, ethnic background you come from. Or even, like, it's so stinking American.
It absolutely is.
And beautiful in that way.
And to the Clybourne Park conversation, right? Like, yeah, they're moving on up to the east side. Like,
yeah, but see, like, the difference is Walter was like, with the liquor store, we could build a house. You know what I mean? Like, we could have a sustain. Anyway, I don't even want to get into it.
no, litigate your character.
No, I'm just
I get
saying
it.
that, like, you know, it's like we could have the business, have solid income, let the money rotate in the community a couple times instead of like going straight out to the white neighborhoods and, you know, their expensive department stores and the better supply chains. We can reinvigorate this neighborhood.
Yeah.
We're not going that far away. We're around people that we know and trust instead of
I think for Ruth, one of the things that I really love about that scene, because she has an upper room moment, right, where she taps into her faith and her spirituality, and she's really rejoicing with like the joy of the Lord that they bought this house. She's, hallelujah, praise God, right? This idea, I think, again, even within the constraints that Black folks, particularly Black women, find themselves in, she makes a choice and a decision to be happy. about it. It's not that she's ignorant. It's not that she doesn't know
Yeah.
the dynamics and the things that could potentially happen in Clybourne Park. But you see her in real time. It's something I'm really trying to play. It's a part of the play that's really important to me to get and to make sure that I'm conveying. In real time, you see her go through, and the punctuation, Akeem brought that up in rehearsal too, the punctuation that Lorraine uses. Well, dash, comma, dash, ... italics, dash. Like, she wrote it in the play of like, Ruth is struggling with this. It's not just that she's
Right away.
hallelujah. You know, she's like, okay, I have to make sense of this thing, because she does know the dynamics. She does know what they're walking into, and makes a decision to say, if this is my time, if this is what has to happen for us to get to the thing that we've been talking about, then I'll have faith that it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, also, like, you have I think that there's something to be said about that, like, upper room moment and the choice to be happy. Because Walter can get away with being a brat. Walter can get away with being pouty and mean-spirited in a way that beneath it gets told, be nicer. Whereas Walter gets told, just leave. Right?
Yeah.
Like, beneath it is told, and this is some of those systems coming into play where it's like, listen, if you want to survive out here, be nice. Like, you attract more bees with honey. Whereas Walter can be a bit more of a bully, and society just accepts it. And I think there's something really interesting about the way that Ruth and Walter metabolize their reaction to the news. Because the way that we digest that news is so different.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's because of the passes that have been given that let Walter behave in a way that might not be so
Yeah, that's great.
as kind or as forgiving.
I want to ask about the final decision that Walter makes. I don't want to give away the play for anybody who has not read it or has, it's been a while since they have, but it is a turning point. It is, I mean,
You're talking about when the aliens come down. I got you.
structurally, it is the climactic moment, right? Oh, we got a spit take. That was a first. That was a first for the podcast.
I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, that was a genuine spit take.
What?
A genuine spit take. A genuine. It was the thing that tickled me was that JKJ just went and heard the joke, clocked the joke, and just went immediately back into this very serious question. And it was the sincerity with which the question was being asked that it made me.
Well, for the record, for anybody who's seen spit takes on stage, real ones are far sloppier.
I am so sorry. I can't wait to. Sorry. All right. Sorry. What was your question?
I'm like, what is going on?
I'm sorry. It really tickled me.
I love it.
Oh boy. Well, listen.
This is clowning 101, okay?
We come to. I'm just gonna get more comfortable now that I've marked the territory. Sorry, what was your very serious question?
My very serious question about the aliens.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, in this final moment, it is the moment that a flawed person who has been making big dreams and has been a bit of a bully and has been allowed to kind of mess about and make some mistakes that are going to resonate for a long time with his family.
100%.
Makes a choice that really does change the course of the family's life. And was at a real crossroads. And I think that people expected him perhaps to make the wrong choice. But for all intents and purposes, as Lorraine writes it, he makes a pretty brave,
Yes.
risky
Yes.
choice.
Yes.
Can you talk about what's going on? What's happening in the subtext in that?
I think that there's being prideful and being proud. And I think that in that moment, me and Walter, so oftentimes I'll say I when I'm talking about Walter.
Sure.
But I think that I'm discovering the difference between plain people, prideful people, and proud people. I think that to be plain is to do a disservice to the humanity and the grit, hard work, the potential suffering. It's a way of sanitizing the experiences of people who maybe have menial jobs. It's like if you're a bus driver, as my son wants to be, it's a very plain job.
Yeah.
But that's also like kind of dehumanizing.
Yeah.
And minimizing. Pride is there's a scene in Pulp Fiction where Ving Rhames is talking to Bruce Willis, and he's like, "You're gonna hear something in the back of your head. You're gonna feel something that's gonna tell you not to go down. That's pride messing with you." He doesn't say messing, but this is a Tarantino movie. But pride is pride goeth before the fall. It is self-centered, selfish. It's all-consuming. To be proud is very different. And to be proud, I think, is to look around. To say I'm proud of someone. Say I'm proud of you, Noelle. Means not only I feel a thing for you, and I appreciate all the things that you've gone through, very humanizing, but also I support where you will go in the future. And so I think that in that moment, it is really coming to understand the difference between those three and pointing to one that feels the most important for this family. Now, whether or not we can argue for days about whether or not he makes the right choice or his definitions or my definitions are correct. But I think that's something that we as Americans certainly wrestle with often.
Yeah.
And certainly as humans, we wrestle with it. But yeah, I think that's what's going on in that decision. Is there's a discovery of what those things mean and a decision about which road to take.
Well, this has been a really beautiful conversation, and I wish we could talk more. And thank you for your generosity of time and thoughtfulness
And water.
And water. If I wish I had plants on the table, I wouldn't need to water them anymore. But
Insane.
Noelle, Dianne Johnson, Brandon Burton, thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Once again, many thanks to Brandon Burton and Noelle Dianne Johnson. Thank you for your artistry, your candor, and your beautiful thoughtfulness. A Raisin in the Sun opens tonight, June 27th, and continues through July 13th. Tickets are on sale now, so visit pashakespeare.org or call our box office at 610-282-WILL. That's 610-282-9455. For all of us here at PSF, I'm Jason King-Jones reminding you, your journey into undiscovered countries continues with every story we tell. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at La Buddha.
Thank you for listening to As You Like It, a Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival presentation recorded on the beautiful campus of DeSales University. Our music is by Cedric Lamar, with hosts Jason King-Jones, Kim Carson, and Connie Berenger. For more information on our summer theater series, giving opportunities, tickets, and more, visit pashakespeare.org. Be sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you at Labuda.
Behind every standing ovation is a network of patrons who know that theater changes lives. With tickets funding only half the cost, PSF counts on contributions to produce world-class theater, cultivate new audiences, and nurture future generations of artists. Give today at pashakespeare.org/support. Great theater is a collaboration both on stage and off.